Do you find yourself trapped in endless cycles of overthinking, unable to let go of worries and doubts? In this video, we'll explore 7 Stoic techniques to help you release those burdens and stop overthinking. These time-tested methods, rooted in ancient Stoic wisdom, offer practical steps to quiet your mind and find peace amidst the chaos of daily life. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools to break free from the chains of overthinking and regain clarity and calm. Stick with us and discover how to apply these transformative techniques to your own life. Technique 1. Focus on the present moment. In ancient cultures like the Zen Buddhist tradition in Japan, there is a practice called zazen, a form of meditation that revolves around one idea, being fully present. This concept echoes the teachings of Stoicism, which emphasize the power of grounding oneself in the current moment. The Zen masters would say, "When walking, just walk. When eating, just eat." This idea is not far removed from what the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote. Confine yourself to the present. He knew that true peace comes from the ability to be here, now, and to fully engage with the moment. Imagine life as a flowing river. If you constantly worry about what lies downstream or regret the stones you've passed, you miss the cool water rushing past you right now. Focusing on the present is like finding a calm spot in that river, sitting with the reality of the current moment, rather than fighting against the flow. How many times have you been lost in thoughts about the past or future, only to realize you've missed something important happening around you? Think of an archer aiming at a target. If they are distracted, thinking about past misses or future success, they lose focus and their aim falters. The Stoics believed that, just like the archer, we must concentrate solely on what is right in front of us. Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." This mindset allows us to let go of overthinking and concentrate on what we can do now, not what has been or what might be. Take a moment to reflect. How often do you catch yourself trapped in thoughts of what if or if only? Does it really change the outcome? A Stoic practice to counteract this tendency is to bring yourself back to the present moment. One way to do this is by focusing on your senses. What do you hear? What do you see? Feel the ground beneath your feet, the air on your skin. This simple exercise can ground you and help you step away from the cycle of overthinking. In modern psychology, practices like mindfulness, which emphasize being present, are increasingly valued. Studies show that being mindful can reduce stress and anxiety, echoing what Stoics knew centuries ago. It's not about ignoring the past or future, but about anchoring yourself in the present. Next time your mind drifts, try to catch it and ask, what is happening right now that I can fully experience? This is not about rejecting thoughts of past or future, but about acknowledging their place and choosing to focus on what you can do today. This practice of present-mindedness is a path to clarity and peace, a lesson that remains as relevant today as it was in the ancient world. Technique 2. Separate what you can control from what you cannot. The Stoics often compared life to sailing a ship. They knew that while you could adjust the sails, steer the rudder, and navigate the best course, you could not control the winds or the waves. This is the essence of understanding what lies within your control and what does not. Epictetus, a famous Stoic philosopher, put it simply, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." He understood that peace comes not from trying to master the uncontrollable, but from wisely managing what you can influence. Imagine holding 2 circles in your mind. The inner circle represents what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and responses. The outer circle holds everything beyond your control, the weather, other people's behavior, the outcome of events. Often, we stress over that larger circle, grasping at the things we cannot change, like trying to hold on to sand slipping through our fingers. The Stoics urge us to let go of that struggle and direct our efforts inward, to the smaller, more manageable circle. A story from ancient Greece brings this idea to life. When the great Athenian general Pericles faced a naval defeat, he remained calm. His enemies taunted him for not showing rage or despair. But Pericles responded, "I prepared the best I could. The outcome is not mine to control." His wisdom lies in recognizing the boundary between preparation and outcome, effort and results. He focused only on what he could control, his strategy and decisions, and accepted the rest as it unfolded. Pause for a moment and think about a time when you were overwhelmed by a situation. Were you perhaps trying to control the uncontrollable? Modern psychology suggests that accepting what we cannot change reduces anxiety and increases resilience, reinforcing what the Stoics taught centuries ago. Instead of wasting energy on the outer circle, they encourage us to pour our focus into the inner one, to act where our influence is real. This Stoic practice can be incredibly liberating. Imagine trying to tame a storm. It's exhausting and futile. But if you acknowledge that the storm is beyond your control, you can instead choose to find shelter, prepare wisely, or simply accept the rain. Ask yourself, what do I actually have the power to change in this situation? By shifting your mindset, you conserve your energy for things that truly matter and can make a tangible difference. Next time you face a challenge, remember the Stoic way. Make a clear distinction between what is up to you and what is not. Focus your effort on the former and let the rest go. As Marcus Aurelius advised, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Technique 3. Practice negative visualization. Negative visualization, or premeditation malorum as the Stoics called it, is the practice of imagining the worst possible outcomes to better prepare the mind. This may seem counterintuitive. Why think about what could go wrong? However, the Stoics believed that by visualizing potential challenges, we would be less likely to fear them and more prepared to handle them gracefully if they occurred. Think of this technique like a warrior sharpening their sword before battle. They don't wait for danger to arrive unprepared. Instead, they imagine the threats they might face and hone their skills accordingly. Seneca, a well-known Stoic philosopher, once said, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." In other words, by preparing for difficulties in advance, their impact is lessened. There's a story from ancient Rome about Cato the Younger, a Stoic known for his steadfast character. Before any major political debate, Cato would spend time imagining the worst scenarios that could unfold. Public ridicule, opposition from powerful figures, or even personal failure. By facing these fears in his mind first, he could enter the forum with a clear head, unmoved by the unexpected. His practice of negative visualization helped him remain composed and courageous, no matter the challenges that arose. Consider this. When was the last time you were caught off guard by an unexpected event? Did you feel overwhelmed or unprepared? Modern studies in psychology suggest that rehearsing worst-case scenarios can actually decrease anxiety. By practicing negative visualization, you're not inviting misfortune, you're building resilience. The Stoics believed that the worst things are not as terrible when anticipated, like lighting a candle in a dark room to reveal that the shadows were never as threatening as they seemed. Imagine a sailor navigating a stormy sea. By mentally rehearsing the waves, the potential breakdown of equipment, and every conceivable peril, the sailor doesn't become obsessed with disaster. Instead, they prepare their boat, check the sails, and reinforce the hull. If the storm does hit, they remain calm, knowing they are as prepared as possible. If the storm doesn't come, they sail peacefully, reassured by their readiness. Take a moment to apply this to your life. What fears often weigh on your mind? What's the worst that could happen? Visualize it, and then consider how you might respond. By rehearsing these potential obstacles, you not only make them less intimidating, but also prepare yourself with strategies to overcome them. Marcus Aurelius practiced this often, reminding himself, "Begin each day by telling yourself, 'Today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. All of these things happen by reason of their ignorance of what is good and evil.'" The Stoic practice of negative visualization isn't about dwelling on the negative. It's about clarity. By facing our fears head-on in our mind, we gain the power to diminish them. This exercise invites you to look at life's uncertainties not as overwhelming storms, but as predictable tides, allowing you to sail with greater wisdom and confidence. Technique 4. Use cognitive distancing. Cognitive distancing is a technique where you learn to separate your thoughts from your identity. The Stoics believed that our thoughts are like passing clouds, temporary and changeable. Just because you think something doesn't mean it's an accurate reflection of reality. This practice is all about recognizing that your emotions and thoughts are not you. They are simply experiences that you observe. Imagine standing by a river and watching leaves float by. Each leaf represents a thought or emotion, some beautiful, others troubling. Instead of grabbing each leaf and holding on to it, you let them drift away. This is the essence of cognitive distancing, observing your thoughts as if they are outside of you, rather than getting swept away by them. In ancient Greece, the Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. He encouraged his followers to see thoughts as impressions that can be accepted or dismissed. It is not things that upset us, Epictetus said, but our judgments about things. If we practice seeing thoughts as temporary impressions, we reduce their power over us. A story from Buddhist tradition aligns with this Stoic idea. A monk once explained that our mind is like the sky, and our thoughts are like clouds. No matter how dark or stormy the clouds, the sky itself is always untouched. In the same way, our true self is not the storm of emotions, but the calm, steady sky behind them. This idea of observing thoughts as passing clouds allows us to take a step back and recognize that not every worry or judgment is worth our attention. Take a moment to reflect. How often have you identified with a negative thought or feeling, letting it define your mood or even your identity? Modern cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, echoes the Stoic wisdom, emphasizing that thoughts are not facts. By creating space between yourself and your thoughts, you gain control over how you react. Cognitive distancing encourages you to become the observer rather than the participant, giving you the clarity to decide which thoughts deserve your energy. Picture a mountain in the face of a storm. The wind howls and the rain beats down, but the mountain remains unmoved, solid and grounded. Your mind, when practicing cognitive distancing, is like that mountain. Thoughts may rush by like a storm, but you remain steady, recognizing them as fleeting and impermanent. Try applying this in daily life. When a negative thought appears, rather than reacting immediately, take a step back. Ask yourself, is this thought a fact, or is it just an interpretation? Is it something I need to act on, or can I let it pass like a leaf floating down the river? Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic, advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By practicing cognitive distancing, you can reduce anxiety and regain a sense of calm. You create a mental gap between stimulus and response, allowing you to choose how to act instead of being overwhelmed by your thoughts. It's like developing a protective buffer where you learn that you are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them, and you decide which ones deserve your attention. Technique 5. Limit your exposure to information overload. In today's digital age, we're bombarded with an endless stream of information. From news articles to social media feeds, the constant influx of updates can overwhelm the mind. Stoic philosophy offers a valuable lesson on the importance of limiting exposure to distractions and focusing only on what truly matters. The ancient Stoics were keenly aware of the importance of mental clarity. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "Do not waste time on what you cannot control." This is especially relevant in the context of information overload. We have access to vast amounts of information, but we cannot control it all. The Stoics recognized that focusing on the things that are beyond our control is a surefire way to drain our energy and peace of mind. Imagine trying to fill a cup with water, but the cup is constantly being poured into from multiple directions. Eventually, the water spills over, creating a mess. This is what happens when you consume too much information. Your mind becomes overwhelmed, and you lose focus. Instead, just as you would stop the overpouring to preserve the cup's capacity, limit your exposure to the constant flow of information to protect your mental clarity. In ancient China, Confucius taught that to gain wisdom, one must choose carefully what to engage with. In the Analects, he emphasized the importance of knowing when to stop, indicating that wisdom is not just about accumulating knowledge, but also about discerning what is truly valuable and necessary. By limiting unnecessary information, we cultivate space for reflection and deeper understanding. Modern psychology supports the Stoic approach to limiting information. Studies on decision fatigue show that constant exposure to new information can impair our ability to make sound choices, leading to stress and burnout. Cognitive load theory also suggests that our brains have a limited capacity to process information. Just as an overstuffed closet can't be organized, an overburdened mind cannot think clearly. Ask yourself, how much time do you spend consuming information that doesn't add value to your life? Could you reduce your exposure to digital noise and instead focus on nurturing your mental well-being? The Stoics would argue that by limiting unnecessary inputs, you preserve your energy and clarity. As Epictetus wisely said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your reaction in this case involves actively choosing what information you allow into your life. By curating what you consume, be it news, social media, or even casual conversations, you create space for meaningful, thoughtful engagement with the world. Limiting exposure to information overload allows you to focus on the things that truly matter and to make decisions based on thoughtful consideration rather than emotional reactivity. This practice is like tending a garden. If you allow too many weeds to grow, they choke out the flowers. But if you prune carefully and focus on nurturing what is most important, the garden thrives. Your mind works in the same way. Limit what you feed it, and it will grow clearer, more focused, and more resilient. Technique 6. Engage in daily journaling. Journaling is a powerful tool for self-reflection and mental clarity. Ancient cultures recognized the value of writing down thoughts as a means of processing emotions, analyzing behavior, and achieving inner peace. The Stoics, too, understood the power of introspection and daily self-examination. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoics, kept a private journal in which he would record his thoughts, struggles, and reflections. This practice, known as meditations, allowed him to engage in self-discipline and fine-tune his mind each day. Think of journaling as a mirror for the mind. Just as a mirror reflects the image of your face, journaling reflects the state of your inner world. When you look in the mirror of your mind through writing, you gain clarity about what's troubling you, what you're grateful for, and where you need improvement. It's a space to untangle the knots in your thoughts and reflect on how your actions align with your values. In ancient Egypt, scribes and priests wrote in scrolls to reflect on their deeds and cultivate virtue. Writing was considered sacred, a way to maintain control over their actions and thoughts. The act of writing itself was seen as a discipline, one that made them more mindful and aligned with their higher purpose. The same principle holds true today. By engaging in daily journaling, you create a space where you can reflect on your day, dissect your actions, and track your growth. Stoicism teaches that the mind is constantly in flux, bombarded by emotions, judgments, and external events. Journaling is a way to organize and calm this mental chaos. As Epictetus wrote, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Journaling allows you to clear your mind and focus on your true desires, separating what is essential from the noise around you. When you journal daily, you're practicing mindfulness. You allow yourself time to pause and evaluate. Are you focusing on things you cannot control? Are you allowing emotions to dictate your actions? Are you living in accordance with your principles? Journaling provides a safe space to explore these questions and track your progress. Ask yourself, what would happen if I took just 10 minutes every day to journal about my thoughts and experiences? How would this practice change the way I approach my challenges, and how would it help me grow? Journaling also provides perspective. It's easy to get lost in the moment, but when you look back at your entries over time, you see how far you've come. It becomes clear how you've overcome obstacles, learned from mistakes, and grown stronger. This is not just about venting frustrations, but about creating a dialogue with yourself, about becoming your own mentor and guide. By incorporating journaling into your daily routine, you'll find yourself more grounded, more aware of your emotions, and better able to manage overthinking. The Stoics believed that a well-examined life was the key to living virtuously. By journaling, you actively engage in this practice, making it easier to stay focused on what truly matters and eliminating unnecessary distractions. In essence, journaling is like forging a tool in a blacksmith's forge. You hammer out the rough edges, smooth the surface, and refine the tool to serve its purpose. By journaling daily, you refine your mind, strengthen your focus, and gain the wisdom needed to navigate life's challenges with greater ease. Technique 7. Meditate on impermanence. One of the most profound techniques in Stoic practice is meditating on the impermanence of life. The Stoics believe that all things are temporary. Our possessions, our emotions, even our own lives. By constantly reminding ourselves of this fact, we free ourselves from the fear of loss and develop the ability to appreciate what we have in the present moment. In ancient Buddhist teachings, the concept of impermanence, anicca, is central. Buddhists meditate on the fleeting nature of life to cultivate detachment and mindfulness. This idea resonates with the Stoic notion that everything in life, whether good or bad, is subject to change. The Roman Stoic Seneca wisely wrote, "Time heals what nature cannot." Recognizing that everything passes with time helps us navigate difficult moments and fosters gratitude for the present. Imagine standing by a river. As the water flows by, it is constantly moving, never staying the same for even a moment. The same is true of life. Everything, joy, pain, success, failure, is like a drop in the river, passing by in the blink of an eye. This perspective allows you to loosen your attachment to things and people, knowing that nothing is permanent. The river doesn't stop for us, we are just passing through it. Stoic philosophers such as Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the idea of impermanence as a way to stay grounded in the face of adversity. In Meditations, he writes, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This powerful reminder underscores the fleeting nature of existence. When you meditate on impermanence, you are reminded that every moment is precious, and it encourages you to live with intention. This concept is not about dwelling in negativity or wishing things away. Instead, it's about accepting that life is in constant flux, and by embracing this reality, we can better adapt to change. When we fear losing something, whether it's a relationship, job, or opportunity, we hold on to it tightly, causing unnecessary stress. However, when we acknowledge that all things are temporary, we release our grip and find peace in the natural flow of life. When practicing meditation on impermanence, reflect on the transient nature of your own experiences. Think about the last challenge you faced and how it eventually passed, no matter how overwhelming it seemed at the time. Ask yourself, how does remembering that everything is temporary shift the way I view my current struggles? In conclusion, Stoic practices provide powerful tools to help us navigate the challenges of life with calm and resilience. By focusing on the present moment, distinguishing between what we can control and what we cannot, and meditating on the impermanence of all things, we can create mental clarity and peace. Each of the techniques discussed encourages us to step back, detach from unnecessary worries, and gain a deeper understanding of the world around us. As we embrace these Stoic principles, we learn to let go of overthinking and develop a sense of inner freedom, allowing us to live more fully and with purpose. Remember, the Stoic path is not about avoiding hardship, but learning to face it with a composed mind and an unwavering spirit. By practicing these techniques regularly, you can transform your mental landscape, turning stress and uncertainty into opportunities for growth and self-improvement. By contemplating impermanence, you learn to detach from the fear of loss and instead focus on what truly matters. It helps you cherish the present moment and approach life's changes with grace and resilience. As Heraclitus, the ancient Greek philosopher, famously said, "The only constant in life is change." Embracing this truth allows you to navigate life with greater ease, knowing that nothing lasts forever, not even the challenges you face today. Meditation on impermanence is a tool for mental clarity, allowing you to distance yourself from the overwhelming nature of life's uncertainties. By constantly reminding yourself of the impermanence of everything around you, you create space for peace and acceptance. It's a liberating practice that allows you to flow with life rather than resist its inevitable changes.